Today, we're going to tackle a huge trend, manifestation. But we're going to unpack the real science behind it, all through one of the most incredible success stories you will ever hear. Let's dive in.
So are you maybe manifesting a big promotion this year? Hoping for a major career move? Well, you are definitely not alone. The whole idea of manifestation has just completely exploded online. We're talking millions of posts, people everywhere trying to visualize their goals into reality. But here's the big question. Is there any real science behind it? To figure that out, we need to talk about the story of actor Jim Carrey. And I mean way before he was the household name we all know. Back when he was a struggling comedian, he made this promise to himself that seemed, well, utterly impossible. And get this, it's the level of detail and commitment here that is just so striking. Back in the early 1990s, Carrey literally took out a blank check, made it out to himself, and in the memo line he wrote, "For acting services rendered." I mean, the sheer audacity of it is just incredible. And just look at that number, $10 million. For an actor who was completely out of work at the time, this wasn't just ambitious, it was unthinkable. And he didn't just tuck it away, he put that check in his wallet and carried it with him everywhere he went. So here's how it all played out. He wrote that check in the early 90s and gave himself a hard deadline, Thanksgiving 1995. Then, in a twist that honestly sounds like it's straight out of a movie, just before that date arrived, he got paid exactly $10 million for his role in Dumb and Dumber. He actually met his own impossible deadline.
But the check wasn't even the whole story. As a way of coping with having no work, he created this dedicated ritual. For about 4 years, he would drive up to that famous road overlooking Los Angeles and just visualize his success. He wasn't just hoping for it, he was actively working to make himself truly believe that it was already real. So what exactly was he doing up there? This is the core idea of manifestation, but you know what? It's probably not what you think. According to psychotherapist Chaman Adjen, this isn't magic, it's a deliberate process. And the key words here are aligning your values, intentions, and actions. It's about actively creating a path forward, not just passively wishing you were already at the destination. So, if it's not magic, what is actually happening? This is where it gets really fascinating. The explanation isn't mystical at all. It's neurological. It's all about what's going on inside your brain.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Come on, this is just wishful thinking, right? A coincidence? And you know what? That's a fair question, and science offers a pretty compelling answer.
Here's the bottom line. It's about rewiring your brain. Intense visualization is like a form of mental rehearsal. It can literally start to build and strengthen neural pathways, almost like creating a mental blueprint for success. You're basically training your brain to recognize what the finish line even looks and feels like.
Neuroscientist Dr. James R. Doty actually calls this brain priming. By consistently focusing on a goal, you prime your brain to start subconsciously scanning your environment. It begins seeking out opportunities and information related to that goal, things that otherwise you would have completely missed.
So this process is actually pretty straightforward. First, you visualize a clear goal. That consistent focus starts to rewire those neural pathways we just mentioned. Then, your brain starts subconsciously noticing relevant opportunities, an article about a key contact, or an ad for a useful course. And finally, and this part is critical, it prompts you to align your actions with your intentions. You start behaving like the person who can actually achieve that goal.
Okay, so we've got the incredible story and the fascinating science. Now, let's pull it all together and talk about what this really means for your own goals.
The biggest takeaway really is this simple distinction. The myth is that this is all about magic or some kind of wishful thinking. The reality is that it's a tool for priming your brain that requires deliberate, focused action from you.
So to sum it all up, remember that visualization is an active process, not just passive dreaming. It helps rewire your brain to notice opportunities. But, and this is so important, your actions have to match your intentions. Without action, it's all just a daydream. And as we saw with Jim Carrey, this process can also help you feel the motivation and joy of success long before you actually achieve it, which keeps you going when things get tough. And that brings us right back to the man himself. After he achieved that goal, Carrey fully embraced this idea. In his mind, it wasn't some lucky break, it was a process that he had put into motion years earlier.
So this leaves us with one final, powerful question. It's not about whether this works, but about how you can use it. So for a moment, forget about magic and just think about the neuroscience. What clear, specific goal will you choose to prime your brain for first?